Vindos ao canal Clips MMA. Passado alguns dias da derrota do Poatan para o Ankalaev, analisando os comentários de vocês, acho que temos meio que um consenso. O Poatan estava tão preocupado com as quedas que não conseguiu soltar seu jogo em pé. Mas numa revanche, sabendo que consegue parar o wrestling do russo, acho que ele vai vir totalmente diferente, mais confiante. E acredito que vamos recuperar o cinturão novamente. Bom, fiquem com todos os comentários que achei sobre essa luta. Já se inscrevam aí no canal e bora!
It was a lazy performance. Now, it wasn't lazy in terms of Pereira wasn't trying. It wasn't lazy that he was out of breath and tired and didn't prepare, even though he did get a little bit tired as the fight progressed, but that's normal. But the wrestling from Ankalaev certainly added to that. But what I mean by lazy is just the general amount of output that we saw. It just wasn't there. The appetite, the thirst, the hunger, whatever you want to call it, I didn't see it tonight. And that's why Magomed Ankalaev is now the light heavyweight champion of the world, and he beat him at his own game.
And one of the biggest things is Alex Pereira is a giant. And as the fight starts, he starts to build and build and build and gets even bigger and bigger and bigger. Ankalaev didn't let that happen. Ankalaev wasn't scared of him. He wasn't shook. He was in his face from the start. And you see them both. There were times they would be bouncing right in the center, trying to see who would take a step back. Ankalaev wasn't leaving. He was there. He walked him down. And it was a perfect, I would say this, perfect game plan. He had great fight IQ.
And if you notice, like somebody alluded to me, and I noticed it also, is that you notice Alex's hands were usually lower than they normally are, because he was preparing for a lot of wrestling. Because if you're thinking properly, you would think that, okay, you know, if Ankalaev's fighting properly, he's going to want to throw the wrestling in there. He's want to come and wrestle and be aggressive. And that's exactly what he did. So, you know, Alex could never kick it into second gear. It's not that I don't believe he didn't try. It's just that Ankalaev's game plan was just on point, and he was the better fighter that night.
I think he showed his worst performance in his career. He was really defensive style, not offensive. Even if he's a champion with everyone except me, he fought every time aggressively. He wanted to strike. He wanted to catch the strikes. And with Ankalaev right now, he was how to say, defensive. Like John Jones' last fights in light heavyweight, he just did what's necessary, and but it was not right now. It was not enough.
Pereira was hesitant after round one. He was hesitant. He got stunned in round one, and ever since he got stunned, he was hesitant. Now, I have my idea why I think he was hesitant. One, he was worried about the takedown. He didn't want to get taken down. It was on his mind. When he got stunned, now he's worried about the striking and the takedowns. It was too much. He had to think twice before he throws. He was trying to predict what Ankalaev was going to do. Ankalaev was more unpredictable than Pereira.
If there was a weakness of Pereira, we know his strengths. Let's talk about his weakness. He goes straight back on a straight line. If you go with him, but don't give him too much room, give him a little bit of room, bop, that short left hook's going to catch you. If you stay right, like you're attached to him, you say, we talked about it in the fight plan. If you were great on that, by the way. Yeah, you just stay right with him, bang, you can catch him on that straight line going back. And that's what he did. He caught him on that straight line going back. He did not give him the help.
If Alex Pereira can't get to that flow state, meaning that if I go jab and slip 2-3 or 2 slip 2-3, you watch when he does all the sparring, when he's sparring in Korea, when he's sparring in Australia, or when he's hitting pads, it needs to be that pop 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 pop. It needs to be that flow state. He wasn't able to get there. The reason why is because Ankalaev did a good job of getting extremely close. They got super close. Ankalaev would never overextend. He would never expose himself.
Ankalaev was not shying away from him, and he was coming to him, which means that the opportunity should have been created for him to do some of his patented moves. The left hook was just not there. He goes to the body, comes up top. He was just relying completely on trying to take his leg away, which we knew could be part of the game plan. But a guy of his experience and his level, I really expected him to be able to pivot a bit when the situation wasn't going, and that wasn't necessarily taking him out of the fight. I mean, it was primarily on the feet. Ankalaev did what he said he was going to do. He said, I'm not afraid to stand with this guy. I'm able to kickbox with this guy if I wanted to just kickbox with this guy.
He looked a little different. He was a step behind. As you see it, when they're both in the center and they're trying to jockey for position, Magomed Ankalaev is just able to just, like, people underestimate the slight movements, just getting out of position a little bit. And Magomed would do that. And it seemed like Alex was behind it was just a step slower trying to find him. And of course, Ankalaev definitely had the speed advantage.
And I just feel like he never really opened up. I thought the same thing. And I was getting, I don't want to say mad. I'm not his coach. I'm not, a training partner, but as a fan of the guy and somebody that I like to see perform, I was pissed off, dude. I was sitting there with a couple of buddies and I'm like, he's not opening up. And I don't know if it was because of what was coming back at him, if he felt the power of Ankalaev, if he felt the speed and have issues with it. But I agree. I say this with the utmost respect, and I would expect it said back to me when I was fighting, but I agree that it was a bit lazy and one-sided on his part for a guy that's got dynamite and apparently rocks in those hands. He never let him go.
I think Alex Pereira's lifestyle is finally kind of catching up to him. It's finally catching up to him. The travel, the shama, the lot of the skits and a lot of stuff that he's actually doing. It's really not doing him any service. The only reason why I say is because his body looked a little different, dude. He looked a little pudgier. He looked a little thicker in the face going in.
Overall, the game plan for Ankalaev, even though he tried a lot of takedowns, but he wasn't successful with them. But it's just that the fact that they were there and Alex knew that he wanted to, and like you're saying, it makes a difference in his offense. He was hesitant. He was much more hesitant tonight than he was in any of the fights that you've seen him. He's normally walking through people and throwing a lot of offensive shots. In this one, his output was half.
Alex Pereira did go through a lot, guys. He was hurt and sick for his last title shot. Here's the stat. He's had 5 title fights in 500 days. Now, to my understanding, that wasn't a record, but it tied a record. To my understanding, Chuck Liddell had something real close. And title fights are not the same as other fights. There's not the same sport.
3 title defenses in 7 months is just too much, man. I think they did it to Israel Adesanya. I think you saw it when what did he do? He got knocked out by Pereira, then he came back and he won, then he fought Strickland. You just can't do that.
What could he have done with that extra time? You know what I'm saying? Like, sure. Because it's not like the takedown defense failed him. It's not like he looked tired.
Yeah, his conditioning was on point.
Everything was on point. Like, so it's kind of like you damned if you do, you damned if you don't, right? So you went and made all this extra money, came to the fight and got beat. But when you watch that fight, it looks like it's going to be a hard fight every single time.
Absolutely. I mean, I was very hard on myself, but seeing, Pereira, did a video on Instagram that I saw, and he seemed like he was in good spirits. I think it's those kind of guys that remain stoic throughout the wins and the losses that are going to come back well from this. Guys like Justin Gaethje, for example, of course, that found a way to come back in beautiful fashion. But I think Pereira will be back. And again, looking at that fight, there's little things he can do. There's not one huge mistake where it's like he was getting taken down every round and was just dominating on the ground. It was a super close fight. There's a ton of positives you can take from that fight. And I think Pereira will be back and be back better.